Hi there everybody, welcome to another edition of The Verdict here on Racing TV. We'll be going countrywide for this particular episode. We've got 6 races to have a look at. We'll be going to Hamilton, Redcar, Catrick, Kempton, Newmarket and the Curragh as well. A good few interesting performances, I think, and of course Inspiral will feature. She won the Grade 1 Sun Chariot at Newmarket at the weekend, but we are going to start at Hamilton early last week and the performance of Botanical for the Roger Varian team. Let's have a look at all of the times on a day when the going was soft. Those times are very much soft ground times. A really slow finale, the 5:45. Yaminol's over 11 seconds slow. Botanical, the best winner of the day, was 6.5 seconds slow. So it was very soft out there and hard work, although Botanical seemed to handle conditions very well indeed for his impressive success. So let's focus on that 4:10. He was the 11-10 favourite. Mr. Professor was 100-30. Barishnikov was 5-1. 17-2 Pisanello and Cockalorum 16s, along with 2 old pals, 22-1 and 66-1, the bottom 2. It's Botanical, though, that we are going to concentrate on. It came out of stall number 1. Ben Curtis was on board for the Roger Varian team. Mr. Professor was second from 6. And third home was Barishnikov, who came out of stall number 9 and misses the break quite badly. It's the first take here on The Verdict this week. Barishnikov very slowly away, but keep an eye on him because he does make some quite good late headway to round out third spot in the end in a race that is steadily run. You can see horses pulling quite hard here towards the 4. Even Botanical, who's down here against the rail, he's a little bit keen in the early part of the contest. That's because they went steady, and the CourseTrack sectionals, you'll find them on the Racing TV website, they back that up. Finishing speed percentage was 105.64, suggesting that they've gone steady and then saved plenty of petrol to be able to finish off pretty well. That was a percentage for the winner, who's clearly got a turn of foot and clearly handles these conditions very well indeed. He's nicely in hand here in 4th place as Harswell Duke takes them along. The pace has picked up now a little bit. Look at Barishnikov right out the back and just nudged along when the pace picks up. He'll stay on strongly in the closing stages, but Botanical going nicely at this stage, and he dominates the last part of the race. He's way too good for his rivals through the final 3 furlongs. He went 37.64 up the hill at Hamilton, and the runner-up could only manage 39.1, so he's much, much quicker than the runner-up. 37.64 compared to 39.1. And his individual furlongs were impressive in the conditions. Look, they're kicking up plenty of divots. They were getting into the ground. It was hard work there, but he quickened. He's just about to do that now. The 6th furlong, 11.83, and then he went through the 7th furlong in 11.86. Given conditions, that's pretty impressive from Botanical, who is lightly raced. He's only had 5 career starts. He's won a couple of them now, and this performance is the best of his career by some way, off a mark of 87, and I think he looks as if he could be a 100+ horse all day long going forward, because he's open to a fair bit more improvement. And there's a real interesting angle as far as he's concerned. It's the hood off angle. Taking the hood off can make a massive difference. They can wake up big time when you take the hood off. The hood was removed here, and he travelled better than he's ever travelled before with it off, and he's quickened in ground that was quite stamina sapping. He does have plenty of stamina on the dam side of his pedigree, and perhaps potential to stay a little bit further. Watch Barishnikov. I'll just pick Barishnikov out just in there, in behind. You've got 2 white colours together, but he's the one at the back. He runs on quite well, having missed the break and been niggled along when the pace quickened. And he ran on quite well in the closing stages. Perhaps a horse to keep an eye on going forward. He could have done with a strongly run race. He was poorly positioned, but he was able to run on. But he was no threat to Botanical, and he probably never will be, really. This horse has won very nicely indeed. Roger Varian doing well with his Raiders at Hamilton this season, and in Botanical he's got himself a very nice progressive 3-year-old. He'll stay another furlong or so, you would have thought. He hasn't had a hard race here, not had many career starts either, so therefore I think we might just see him again this autumn. He's pretty useful already. It's the time of year when we see some pretty good horses turned out on the all-weather surfaces in the UK, and we see quite a few good novices from big yards. This was the Kempton card last week, and times are quite quick actually. They're going as described as standard to slow, but I think the Polytrack rode a little bit quicker than that. Pretty good times overall. For example, Mischief Magic back to form, a Breeders' Cup winner of course, returned to form, winning in a good time of 1:11.41 over 6 furlongs. That was a standout time of the day. But I want to have a look at Tyndrum Gold, who won the 7:30 contest. It was a mile handicap, but 1:38.14 the winning time. And quite well back, 9-2 from 11-2. Behind the scenes was 5-1. Theme Park was 5-1. Gulmarg was 11-2. Montilinus was 6-1. And Power of Gold was a 6-1 shot as well. Right, so we'll take it from the start here and we'll pick the winner out in a moment. We've got the side-on angle here, so we're not picking out the stall numbers for you, but I can tell you that Tyndrum Gold did win and won well from stall 6. Behind the scenes from 4 was in 2nd place, and Montilinus from 9 was back in 3rd. They went a pretty good gallop early on. It was okay. Power of Gold coming up around the outside to get to the front under Oisin Murphy. The winner's a little bit keen. Between horses, hard to pick out, just in there. Just a little bit keen at this stage of the contest. Overall, they went quite hard for the first furlong and a half or so, and then they steadied the pace. And a finishing speed percentage of 106.75 tells us that they steadied it sufficiently enough for the winner to be able to finish off really quickly, save plenty of petrol in mid-division, and then quickened up and won pretty nicely. 2 1/4 lengths was the winning margin in the end. And this horse is an all-weather specialist. This surface really suits him, and I think he's got some handicapping scope as well. He's unbeaten at Kempton, loves the Polytrack, and he's got a sharp turn of foot, which is often what you need at Kempton Park, because they can crawl and it can turn into a bit of a dash, and he really has got a turn of foot. His final 3 furlongs, 34.47, the runner-up 34.72, so a tad better than the runner-up, but he really quickened smartly. The 7th furlong did it for him. This won him the race, 11.13. He's doing that now to get to the 1 pole. So now he's fired 11.13, and that has catapulted him into the lead, and then he's able to run 11.53 thereafter. So 2 sub-12 second furlongs he was able to do, and that took him clear of his field, and he won this in very good style. Another Roger Varian horse, and David Egan was the man on board. Now, in behind, it looked visually as if behind the scenes was perhaps a little bit unlucky. Nowhere to go at this stage, just in there. And Tyndrum Gold gets going before behind the scenes. But if you look at the numbers, you look at the sectionals, when behind the scenes gets out, he doesn't really pick up. He certainly can't do an 11.13, and he wasn't able to do a final furlong of 11.53, which the winner was able to do. So whilst he was stuck in traffic and didn't get out perhaps when they wanted to get out, he wasn't in any way unlucky as far as I'm concerned. I think the winner was just way too good. But behind the scenes is worth keeping an eye on. He travels strongly, and there might be a race in him on the all-weather in the near future. Definitely one for your racing TV trackers. But this Tyndrum Gold is very useful. This surface sees him to best effect. He's got a sharp turn of foot, and he was way too good off this mark. This was 86. Well, he's got a fair bit of handicapping scope, really. I think they're going to plunder a couple more prizes with him on the all-weather. He's probably going to go up £5 or £6 for that success, but that'll be no bar to another win as far as I'm concerned. He's pretty useful, and keep a very close eye on behind the scenes next time up. From Kempton Park, we go north to Catrick last week and have a look at a Carl Burke trained winner in the shape of Ice Max. Here's the winners on the day. The ground was described as good to soft in places, but I think it was soft really looking at those times. They're very slow times. And I think overall you'd have to describe it as soft, and the jockeys by and large wanted to come across towards the stand side, which they usually do when the ground is quite attritional. Ice Max, definitely the star on show, and furlong per furlong put up the best performance of the day. Over 7 furlongs in the 350 contest. Let's have a look at the market. 11 to 10 favourite Ice Max. Got the better of New Point, who was 100 to 30. Charged up was 4 to 1. It was 5 to 1 Balachi, and Empire of Light 22 to 1. Okay, let's have a look at this. Ice Max does the business from stall 1. Balachi was 2nd from 2, and New Point was 3rd from stall number 6. Watch him at the start. Ice Max slowly away. misses the break and is nudged along by Clifford Lee to pick up the bridle. Holly Doyle, brilliant gate jockey. She's fantastic out of the stalls, and she has got to the lead straight away, and she sets a very strong gallop on a horse who finishes third in the end, New Point, who jumped out of sixth but was out like a rocket under Holly and took them along at a very strong gallop. You can now see that the winner is last, but back on the bridle, having been slowly away and niggled along. It looks like a fierce gallop, and the figures tell us it was 98.96 the finishing speed percentage. So the winner has finished tired for all that he was much, much superior to his rivals. And he finished tired because they've gone a real hard gallop in soft ground, and therefore he was probably pretty well positioned. Missing the break was not a disadvantage because they've gone so hard. He's able to pick up tiring horses that are stopping in front of him. But in the end, he's won like a really decent performer. He recorded a final 3 furlongs, 38.84. That's miles quicker than anything else in the race. 41.06, the next best in the race. So 2 and a bit seconds quicker in the final 3 furlongs, this winner. And he was strong through those final 3 furlongs in each of the individual furlongs. So he was quickest at 12.87, quickest at 12.52, and quickest in the last furlong at 13.45. So what that tells us is this is a complete and utter dominant display from Ice Max, who was thought good enough to run in a listed race prior to this at Doncaster and disappointed, but definitely back on track now here under Clifford Lee, who can only has to really nudge him out. He gets a flick of the whip, but he's pulled 11 lengths clear of his toiling rivals. This is not a strong race by any stretch of the imagination, but he's annihilated his opponents and has done so off a mark of 80, a generous mark, you'd have thought, for a horse who's quite highly thought of. And he's made a mockery, hasn't he, of that official rating. He's set for a hike in the weights and possibly a return to listed company. That's not out of the question, because he was thought good enough to have a crack at Doncaster. Things didn't go well there, and maybe they'll return to that. Handles soft ground as well, and 7 furlongs looks to be about right. A race that went really well for him, but he was just far too good. A dominant final 3 furlongs meant that he pulled miles clear of the rest. A weak race, but don't ask what he beat, ask how fast he ran, and he ran pretty fast. Newmarket on Saturday. Sun Chariot was the feature event at 3:15, which was won by Inspiral, the only horse on the card to go under standard, 135.65 over the mile, the standard being 135.9. Fast ground, good to firm, good in places, and those times very much suggested that it was correct, that going description. Possibly it was just a little bit quicker. I'm not sure where the good in places were, but it was certainly good to firm, and it suited Inspiral. So let's have a look at the market for the Virgin Bet Sun Chariot. She was 10 to 11, and the second horse in 100 to 30 from 9 to 2. Heredia 6 to 1 runs really well. Heredia, one to keep an eye on. 15 to 2 Meditate. 16s and bigger the rest, and this was Inspiral at her very, very best here. Stall 3 for her and Frankie. The runner-up from 7, the third horse came from stall 8. Okay, let's have a look at this early pace in this race. Roman Mist and Random Harvest take them along. Roman Mist, the grey horse in the green colours, and Random Harvest has been taken across towards the rails on the far side. And I think you can tell visually that it's not a fierce early gallop. It often pays to be on the speed at Newmarket at the Rolling Mile, because they run downhill from the mile start early on, and you can get a roll on in front and can be hard to peg back. But they didn't go that hard here, and Inspiral's not too far off the pace. Frankie in that blue cap just sat mid-division. She's travelling very strongly. 104.3 her finishing speed percentage. So once again, we've just got an averagely run race where most of the runners were able to finish off strongly through the final 3 furlongs, and that's certainly what she did. She displayed a blinding turn of foot to win this Grade 1. She really was very good in the closing stages here. This made her a 5 times Group 1 winner, and she's about to quicken up here. It's her 7th furlong that does it. She goes 11 seconds, 11 dead. Nothing can go with her. Nothing can live with her when she quickens up. She went 11.2 before that, so 11.2 and then an 11. That's way too much for her rivals. They cannot quicken like she does. Look at her, she loves this ground. Look at her stretching out, front legs, really loving the ground. She doesn't have much knee curl, just changed her legs there, and she's clearing right away from her rivals with a final 3 furlongs of 34.39, runner-up 34.71. Frankie saluting the crowd, his 500th win at the Newmarket, tremendous from him. And Inspiral, well, she really was on a going day. I think what makes her tick is decent ground where she can display her speed, and also if she settles, because she can be a bit keen sometimes early on in her races. Note Heredia running on into 3rd place. She shaped well from off the pace. She was fastest through the 6th furlong with 11.06, so she ran a very fast furlong to get into contention, but Inspiral was away and gone. She was just too good. And it begs the question where Inspiral will go now. Well, Kipco Champions Day, QE2, she's entered in that. I suspect they might have a go with her. Wonder if the Breeders' Cup might be on the agenda. It's possible, isn't it? Fast ground, strongly run race, travelling well, mid-div, using her turn of foot. Well, it might suit her, but she loved it out there. The fast ground, bringing about the best in Inspiral. Well handled by this man. His final ever flying dismount at the Rowley Mile, probably. Well, Inspiral was clearly the star of the week, but there was a good race at Redcar the weekend. It's their big race of the flat season. It's the Redcar 2-year-olds trophy, very variable contest. Only 10 runners went to post. Normally you have a lot more than that, but let's have a look at the times on the day. It was decent ground, good ground officially. That's probably about right. It might have been a shade quicker than that, particularly on the straight course. And the 2-year-old trophy went to the informed Dragon Leader. The trip was 6 furlongs. He completed it in 1:08.89. And the standard is 1:08.10, so not too bad a time at all. Also, a couple of other good times on the card, respectful in the opening contest, worthy of watching back. But we're going to concentrate on Dragon Leader. For Clive Cox, Richard Kingscott was on board, 4-7, Action Point 9-2, well backed. Flashinello 5-1, Ballon d'Or 14s, 22s, and bigger the rest. Let's have a look at what happened in the William Hill 2-year-old trophy. Widest stall of all for your winner, stall 10. Works of Art from 3 makes the running, was second, and Action Point, the well-supported Action Point, was in third from stall number 4. Let's have a look and see what happened out there. Straightforward stuff, this for Dragon Leader, who is horse in very good form. He's had a very profitable season for Clive Cox. He's won 4 of his 5 starts to date, runner-up in his other start. And this was a valuable prize, which he wins in straightforward fashion. Often you want to be towards the rail at Redcar in the straight course, and that's where the runner-up races, Works of Art, and perhaps the winner's a little bit inconvenienced out in the middle of the track. But he wins in decisive fashion, really. He's much too good from halfway. He dominates the field from halfway, according to the numbers. 4th furlong, 10.75. 5th furlong, 11.11. And the 6th and final furlong, 11.89. So he's quicker than all of his rivals through those individual furlongs 4, 5 and 6. Nothing can live with the pace that he shows. And that final 3 furlongs in total was 33.75. And nothing get anywhere near that. You're talking 34.29 for the game runner-up against the rail, who put up a career best effort, I think, in second place, and might be suited by a step up to 7 furlongs. But Dragon Leader was just way too good. This is often a very competitive contest with more runners spread out across the track, but he's made a mockery of these and has absolutely bolted up. And you've got to think that there's a chance he could make up into a pattern class sprinting 3-year-old. There's a pretty good chance. He's got a very speedy pedigree. I'm not sure he's going to be a horse who connections will think about preparing for a Guineas or anything like that. I think he's a fast horse. I think he'll end up being a sprinter. You've only just got to look at those numbers. 4th furlong, 10.75, 5th, 11.11. He's got loads and loads of speed. The way he hit the line, it suggests that he might stay 7 furlongs. But I'm not sure they'll give it a go. And if you just look at the way he moves as well, look, he's no knee curl whatsoever, really. So he's always going to want decent ground. Rare that you get this sort of ground at this time of year, but it really worked for him there at Redcar, and he won as he liked. He's progressing really nicely. Nice winner for Richard Kingscott, and Clive Cox has managed his horse's career really well indeed. 4 out of 5 now for this fella, and more to come, possibly next year in better company if he's kept to sprinting. And finally, on the verdict, we'll go to the Curragh on Saturday afternoon. The ground was definitely soft, the time suggesting that it might have been a little bit worse than that, but it was definitely soft, and it was hard work out there, particularly slow time over 1.5 miles from the Pashmina, over 12 seconds slow. Indigo 5 over 8 seconds slow, over 9 seconds slow. Illinois, that's the horse I want to concentrate on. A debutant for Aidan O'Brien. Shamie Heffernan, the man on board, 9 furlongs the trip. The winning time is slow, 2 minutes 46 with a standard of 151.2. That's a function of conditions more than anything else, but I thought it was a taking debut from this fella. Let's have a look at the market. And it was Invention who was favourite, 100 to 30. Illinois weak, 4 to 1, having opened up at 11 to 4. Solar Saving 9 to 2. 8 to 1 Fighter, that was backed. Solar Spain, 10s from 11s. Mont Saint Michel, 11s. 12s, Bacchanalian, and 14s and bigger, the rest. So let's see what Illinois achieved in winning this from stall 12. Beat Solar Spain from 10 and Bacchanalian from stall number 3. Right, this was quite a steadily run contest. There he is, mid-division. He's on debut. He's a son of Galileo, and he's a half-brother to Dane Dream, who won the Arc in soft ground. It may just be that a bit of ease in the ground will always suit him. And this was a tough test for 2-year-olds. 9 furlongs at the Curragh, stiff track, with the ground pretty gluey and soft, and it was really hard work. So I think he's done well to win as decisively as he did in the end. Now, when you look at the individual sectionals, they're not the sort that we've been seeing on fast ground earlier on in the verdict, not the sort of Inspiral 11-second furlongs, because it's hard work out there, and we're looking at 12-second plus furlongs for the sectionals here. But we can decipher from them that Illinois recorded a pretty decent final 3 furlongs, 38.22. His splits were 12.4, 12.3 and 13.52. And he was the fastest in the race through the 8th and 9th furlongs. So he got this trip really well. He stayed on really strongly. There's furlong 8, 12.3. That doesn't seem very quick, does it? But compared to his rivals, a lot of them who are under the pump already as they turn in at the Curragh, that was a good effort from him. And his final 3 furlongs much better than the rest. And he was able to finish quite well, you know, 105.06 his finishing speed percentage, so 5% quicker in the final 3 furlongs than the rest of the race. So it probably wasn't that strongly run, but he's hit the line strongly. He's run on really well in the closing stages. Remember, it's 9 furlongs in tiring ground, and he's on debut. I think this is a pretty good effort from him. The second and third, they've both run well, both from the Joseph O'Brien yard, Soul of Spain and Bacchanalian. I thought Bacchanalian was particularly eye-catching on the numbers. He had the fastest sectional in the race. At any point in the race, no horse ran faster than he did, and that was the 6th furlong, the 6th of 9. He did an 11.81, and no horse was able to get near that. So he's got plenty of ability, Bacchanalian, and he should be kept an eye on, I think, going forward. But I really like this winner, Shamie Heffernan, educating him all the way, asking him to pick up in the ground. He does that in good style. And I wonder whether they'll think about preparing him for a derby next season. He's about 20 to 1 for that. He clearly stays well. He doesn't hold any near-to-hand big entries, but he looks raw still, lugging to his right in the closing stages. And he did this very well indeed in a race where plenty of them did not handle conditions at all. He did, and who knows, he might be slightly better on slightly better ground, but he's always going to be okay on softest ground with the pedigree that he's got. Another really nice son of Galileo for the Coolmore operation. There'll be plenty more to come from Illinois going forward. Next year he's probably just going to be a strong stayer, isn't he? He might make up into a ledger horse one day. Who knows? Illinois, who won at the Curragh on Saturday. So that's it for the verdict this week. I hope you enjoyed looking back at a number of big races. The biggest, of course, was Inspiral, winning the Sun Chariot. She put up the performance of the week by some way. Fast ground, allowing her to flash her speed and thrash her rivals under a delighted Dettori. See you next week.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.